weird vibe today. Just a weird, weird vibe. Welcome, everyone, to the Real Mama Show. And me applying my lipstick. Let's just get real. So, welcome. I'm hoping everyone is doing really well out there. Another crazy day in paradise. Hey, good morning, Char. Just another crazy day. What is going on? Well, what can I say? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's it. All right, show's done. What's going on? Well, we're building up to something. There's something that's building up for next Monday. And on that note, if you are wanting to get a astro moon reading, definitely give me a shout out because I don't think you'd say a shout out. That's not a shout out. Yeah, just email me, DM me. They're $40. So if you're wanting one, and then I will deliver it to your inbox. So what's going on with all the shenanigans that are going on in the world? I mean, there's a lot that is we got oh, yeah, that's the big one. The big one that's really happening, that's really kinda, thanks, Shar, really gross, is this whole thing to do with bugs, you know? And I don't know, it's like, the way that they want in some areas, depending on, listings of ingredients, right? Because this flour thing, this cricket flour is going to be in things that you don't even think it could go into. So they're gonna be adding it to a lot of stuff that and I right now it's in the EU, so I don't know how much of it's in Canada. I haven't it's probably coming, but it is like this is a like crickets are $1 billion industry. How did I miss this, right? Holy crap, holy Batman. Like, yeah, so it's a $1 billion industry of putting cricket flour in stuff from, and that's even with where they might even be taking flour and mixing, where it says it's like Robin Hood flour and adding cricket flour in with your Robin Hood flour. So that's how preposterous this is. Like this is just like this is getting you to really say, okay, you know what? Maybe I need to grind my own wheat now, right? So bad for you because Michelle doesn't break down in our system. What? Michelle? What? Oh, the shell. I'm like, Michelle is in my system. So shell. Yeah, and a lot of people are allergic to it as well, if for it. So this is like totally preposterous, right? This is just like absolutely, I'm going to say it's disgusting, right? On the whole matter. So between 2024 and 2026 they are going to make it mandatory to have this. Now this is what's coming in. This right now I'm getting this from Europe. So I mean, and they're pretty strict on their shit, right? So that's coming in from that neck of the woods, and I saw some other information that's coming in from the US. I think for Canadians who probably woke up this morning to go fill up their car, got a little bit of an awakening. Gas here today. It's like I'm a news program now. Gas today in Calgary's $1.62, unless you can find the cheap gas places, which will be about $1.59 thereabouts. So, but gas is at $1.62 now. Like, alrighty. And I said, I mentioned it. I mentioned it. I said this to my husband this morning. I'm like, oh my God. I said, people are going to really have to cut back. And as he said, his point of view, which he can have, I do allow him to have a point of view sometimes, is that, if people have to drive to go to work, they're going to drive to go to work. if they need their vehicle to get to where they're going. But this is going to push a lot of people to a point where it's like, okay, I can drive myself to work, but what am I going to alleviate from my of what I do? So there's places like down even in the States right now where people for the cinema. So if you want to go to the movies, to the cinema, how's that sound? To the cinema. If you want to go to the cinema, um, you're not going to go, right? So you're going to find another way of, what types of outings that you're going to do. You're not going to necessarily do the same things as you did before. So this is where places like if you got your morning coffee and you go get your morning coffee, this is where you're going to second think it before you go to Starbucks or where you go to your usual place for coffee or second cup or whatever it is. This is where people are like, okay, well, maybe I will go to McDonald's or maybe I will go to Sev and grab my morning coffee there and go. So this is really going to get people thinking, even going out, you know, if people get or order skip the dish. So if you order skip the dish or DoorDash or whatever it is, this is going to make you think like, okay, if I'm going to order that, this is where, I got to pay the delivery charge. I got to pay this. I got to pay that. Maybe I need to learn how to cook my own food and make sure there's no crickets in it. So there's no sprinkling of the dust of crickets. Hey, how you doing, love? Um, so this is, another wake up call. So this, waking up and finding that gas is $1.62 this morning here in Alberta is another way of awakening. I stopped using them last year, wasting money. Yeah. But a lot, for like I'm gonna say single people or college kids and stuff like that, that's the thing to do. That's the thing, that's the cool shit, whatever the word is for cool shit nowadays. I have no idea because I ain't in the cool shit. I'm not in the sus. That's it, the sus. Whatever the Z alpha generation are using. So buying and making coffee at home. That's going to be it. So this is, and the thing is like that's not the end of the increase on that. So the pressure is building. So we're seeing this pressure that's building. We're seeing the pressure building as above. I mean, we have Venus is going to be snuggling up to Neptune soon, and Neptune's going to be, going to 29 degrees this year in Pisces. I mean, that's at the very end, and then he's going to retrograde back. He's not going to go into Aries yet. So this is, really a time of huge transformations, right? I was going to grab something when I was at work, but I checked out the price and it was $15 more with tax and delivery. Oh, that's crazy. It's just crazy, and this is, hey, Lexi, we're just bitching. Welcome. But that's true. Prices are, and the increase. So that increase is going to go on to everything else. I mean, we're already paying, I don't know, if you can find, depending what kind of toothpaste you use, toothpaste can range from, I'm going to say, if you can find it on sale for $5, right? You're lucky, to where, an average price of a tube of toothpaste could be up to $10. Same with antiperspirant. So these are things, it's like, oh, do I start making my own toothpaste and deodorant? I don't think I want to make my own deodorant because it just might get too smelly. Like I might get too smelly. But this is huge. This is this awakening. This is this energy that's coming in that's really getting us to really pay attention on the directions, right, that I want to go into. Easy, try it. No, I'm not going to make my own deodorant. Like, Charlene, you could. I worked in a holistic store. I know about the deodorant. I'm going to stick to my deodorant that I do use because, unfortunately, I know how much I smell when I don't wear it, and I'm not going to go through the detox process because I'm a lazy person. So no, it's just not going to happen. Just some things I just don't want to give up. I just had a discussion with our electric company in Monopoly. Wow. We should all buy enough food and things for a month, then everyone collectively buys nothing for a month. Exactly. If people can do that, that's but the bottom line is, or Candace, that is a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous idea. And I totally 100% agree with you. Here's the catcher. There are people that cannot do that. There's people out there that are on such a tight budget now, let alone to that won't be able to do that. So, this is where things are. So I'm feeling your need to have a dish session. Yeah. Yeah. So, and there goes the dog. So this is where, from them grinding up the crickets, putting them in your food, to the gas prices going up, which is going to eventually go into that you're going to see by next week, certain things are going to go up. And those are going to be the items that are still on the shelf. Those aren't the items that have come through the back door yet. Those aren't the items that got, the increase in the carbon tax yet. So they're going to start increasing the things that are on the shelf now. Freeze drying oranges right now. Yes, yes, way to go. So this, you know, changes. This energy that's coming in is really getting you to look at how you live your life, right? How you do your everyday life. And plus there's just so much still Pisces energy. You know, I mean, God bless the fucking Pisces, but I mean, I'm a water sign. I'm a Scorpio, but I find the Pisces energy could just be just like way, way just too much. Like, let me get into this Aries energy. Let me get into a little fire because you want the fire to dry things out, so that you can sort of move forward. But then again, we have the Aries energy, and then it's going up to this North Node, but it's not just the North Node. Chiron's there. Chiron is, the god that sacrificed himself for the other gods to lead the other gods in a more human or humble way, like being. So it's like almost where, what are you going to sacrifice? What are you going to sacrifice, right? What is that next thing that's coming up that you're going to let go of? I'm more obsessive when it comes to a goal, so I'd buy bulk staples and live through it and just stick exactly. That's the way I am too, Candace. 100%. 100 fucking percent, right? This is where I will resort. But as a kid, I hated powdered milk. I will start utilizing powdered milk. And create my own powdered milk. Just have to read the label. Make sure there's no cricket fucking powder in there. But that's, where we're coming into. We're coming into a time that is really getting us to look at and explore new ideas. And unfortunately, human beings are very dense, so it takes us a long time to really get it or really get um into that motion. Some people are there. Some people, you see them out there, living that life or revamping their life, and you know and reformulating the way that they do what they do, kind of thing. But I find sometimes it takes a certain kind of person to do that. Not everyone is like right up on board, right? Because we all like our luxuries. We all like our little things, like, indoor plumbing, water that runs, having a shower. Um, we love our conveniences. But here it is that we're coming to a point where we are going to be looking at how we can change and how can we create our own change within what we do. Yeah, people are still going to fill up their cars, but they're not going to be utilizing them as often as what they used to do. So this is a rethink your temperature for your house, for your gas, as Lexi just said, she talking to the monopoly of it all, right? They got you by the short and curlies, right? So that's the scary part of it. So we have this energy that's coming in, that's, you see all around you, all of the craziness that's um happening, and that how people are being squeezed out. I've looked at a few, and I know a lot of people in the metaphysical world don't like to share shit. with each other. They don't like, if you ask them like, "How are you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing fabulous." Like, I'm just like, "Okay, I wanna know how you guys are out doing out there." Because, a person who does a reading for $300 an hour or $500 an hour, who's buying that reading? Like, you know, because there are psychics and that are doing that. Who's buying that? Who's paying for, hair extensions? Going out and paying for hair extensions because a lot of hairdressers, the last time I got my hair cut, a few months ago was when I was talking to her, she said, not as many people are coming in and that was like, I would say that's maybe 6 months ago, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, I never keep track of when I do my hair, as you can obviously tell. Um, how often people are going in to get their hair done. Now, my daughter works at a clinic, and she works at a very high-end clinic, for people to get Botox and to get their skin done, and they have the doctors there, like real doctors and nurses and stuff like that to do all the kind of things that they do to make you look beautiful and young and luscious. Um, so far, because I ask her all the time, "How's it going? Are you guys busy?" And haven't got a haircut in 8 years. Your hair is just beautiful though, Candace. It's just beautiful. Um, this is where, she goes, "No, we're booked. We're still booked." But then it's like they do deal with high-end clients. They do deal with the high end. So it's like, how long will it be till they say, "Okay, maybe," um, or will they? What are they going to give up to go get their Botox? Because of vanity, right? Because a lot of people do shit for vanity. I have to look like I have to have my lipstick on when I come on here. That's my vanity. And, you know, um, yeah, what will people do and how far will they take it to continue doing what they do, right? Because there's going to come where the bottom's just going to drop out. It's going to drop out, right? Probably food and eating less. True, yeah. Maybe they're the ones who are gonna stock up on the crickets. Um, so so we see this kind of craziness right up to what's happening in Scotland. Like Scotland, Scotland's like I think went off the keels. Well, I think it went off the keels quite a few years ago. But I mean, and this is made me start to say, what the fuck? Now, they just passed cri- a hate um a hate crime, a hate speech crime, hate speech, whatever. And they're going after JK Rowling right now because of what she said. So I think that's sort of like it's like let's look over here at JK and see what she's doing, right? And she did an April Fool's kind of joke kind of thing, but people took it as, "Oh my god, you're hating on the trans again." So this is quite interesting. She's out of the country, and she basically, I guess she said, "Okay, when I come back, arrest me and let's go toe to toe with it." I mean, the woman is a billionaire, so I mean, she's got the money behind her, and she probably doesn't have all her money in Scotland, that's for sure. So, this is going to be interesting. And the guy who's doing it, this is what I find interesting. The guy who's doing, who's promoting this hate speech crime is supposedly a Muslim. A man who, one, preaches about, in his off time about gays and lesbians and all of that, and he doesn't agree with that. Yet when he's in parliament, he's up against it and he's like, like that's hate speech and blah 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 blah. He goes off on it. The other thing is like he's also one who hates white people, and he says that right in parliament, says that we need look at why it's so that everybody here is prejudiced. No, this is Scotland people. It's like 90% people you could see through their skin. That's how white they are. You know, that he's just so up against them, right? And it's just interesting just to watch what he's saying. So I mean, we have that kind of crazy scenario of speech that's going out there, right? Hate and truth are very different. Yeah. You know, it's like the guy in Vancouver who they're going after because he said, "What are you being?" Something about he identified as being as a woman and went into the women's change room, and he has a full beard and everything else. And he says, "Can't a woman have a beard?" And these little girls were just traumatized by, I guess, what he was doing in the change room. And this one woman started to film him and said, to get him out. So now they're investigating it all. But I mean, again, hate and truth, right? There's, what is the, I know, I know some trans, but they will go either into the family bathroom, right? And they don't usually change in front of everybody. They go into their cubicle and change, and that's just what they do, right? But so there's that's going on. So there's all of these crazy, and it's like, here we are. This is how I'm seeing it. It's like, here we are in this little spectrum of our lives, and then we have all of these kind of crazy little balls going out, these other little spears that are going out all around us. And here us as what we're going to call maybe normal, or more, I'm going to call us all these beautiful little light beams that are trying to create a more harmonious way of being, are kind of like dodging all of this excess craziness and energy that's around us, even though that we may not be paying attention to it, or we're not giving our time to it. It is just it's a feeling, it's a vibration that's coming in, and we're kind of ducking it, and we're kind of like trying to move through it, and finding that. And now that Mercury's gone retrograde in Aries, and with this new moon, I just laugh because this new moon solar eclipse, is a powerful one. It is a powerful one. I don't know if it says powerful to do everything that, the striking of God coming down, but it is a very powerful one. It is a very transformational one. It is one that's coming in to create change within the world, to create change within us, right? And it's being overrun by trans defenders who take it too far. Yes, I agree with you. It's like, if you're an adult, do what the fuck you want as an adult. I don't care if you want to have it sticking up your ass or where you want to have it sticking. That's between you and whoever you're doing it with, as long as both of you agree, right? That's just it. you know but as beautiful light workers, as we're going along, there's a lot of bombardment, and this, the solar eclipse that's coming in. And here in Calgary, it is going to be a partial eclipse, but where it's hitting, there is a vibration that's coming in to extract change, to spark something. It's an Aries, so it wants to spark things. It wants to create something that is new and that is innovative. In doing that, it's up against Chiron. It's up against Mercury retrograde. So we're not getting all the information. We have, with the Venus transit getting closer to Neptune, we have the Mars and Saturn transit coming in. So we have this squeeze of energies that are coming in, that's squeezing us to really begin to say, look at your own truth. Look at your truth. Look at what it is that you need to look at, because this is where it's important, and realizing what is holding us back. What isn't allowing us to move in that forward motion. And yeah, I do. I mean, and of course, then we have this comet, which they deemed as the devil comet, that's coming forth, which is a very weird comet. It's another weird comet that's coming through. So it is bringing in something that is transformational, something that is transitional within our life, but we're not getting the fullness of it, or we're not getting that full download with it until after, I would say, I'm going to go into June, maybe May or June, when we get the fullness of it, because we got to go through the Mercury retrograde, plus that Jupiter, the Jupiter Uranus conjunction on the 20th is just going to make things, that's going to be a huge um a huge explosion. That's what I got. Something there that's going to explode, something there that's going to really catapult us into a new and different um scenarios that are going to go on. And here we will still be these light workers that are still perpetuating this light and moving forward through it all, and through whatever darkness and transitional energies that come through, that are bringing us into a new way of being, and still feeling the same squeeze and everything else that everybody else is feeling. Everybody else is feeling that squeeze, and we may be feeling it a little bit more, because the thing is, all of you out there who follow me, that, I know you, I know you, I know most of you anyways, that this is where you really have to become a defender, not only for others, but a defender of oneself, to making sure that you are putting up what you need to put up, right? Because there is a lot of evil that is out there, that is coming in sheep's clothing, right? So it is where we really have to, shining our light even more, shining our truth even more, being the person that speaks out and speaking your truth. Because if you dim your truth, the thing is, like, when you start to dim your truth and dim what it is, you start to dim your own light, right? If you don't speak that truth, right? Ignoring a truth of who I am weakens the being of the truth of who we really are, or can, and that just weakens the whole thing. When people don't really say, and that's where the frustrating part is when people don't speak out and say, hey, that's really a fucking stupid idea. Like, who why aren't we pushing more for something, or why aren't we pushing back, for whatever? Like, it's funny, it's like, because a lot of people are just, not a lot, but a lot more are waking up to seeing this truth. And the shocks, it's a shock, that, when you speak your truth and you tell your truth and you stand it, and you're standing in it, not in a, you're standing in a light worker's way. That means you're standing in it in a way of love, not in a way of being a fucking asshole and being, condemning everybody. This is where you're coming in and you're really wanting to stand in that truth and that light, and honoring that truth and that light. But that doesn't mean you don't have compassion for the other person, or you don't have, have feelings for how they're feeling. But it doesn't mean that you lean into it, right? It means that you hold that person accountable for what it is that they need to recognize, just like others will hold you and me accountable for what I need to recognize within inside of me, right? And that's very important, as we are going forward, and especially with this new moon, with Mercury retrograde, and all the other shenanigans that are happening above us. It is a huge awakening that's coming in, and we're seeing the lights popping here and there, and all over the place. And yeah, it's allowing ourselves to come in, and to come into a place where we can actually be in a place where we're not going to absorb all the shenanigans that are out there, and recoup and revitalize ourselves in some way, which is very important. So making sure that you take your time outs, um, especially because April is the biggest month of the year. This is the biggest transformational month, I'm gonna say, and then for the next while. I'm gonna say for the next while. But it's when April is going to be is the hardest month, especially of this year, and as we go into 2025. So this month is a month of preparedness. This is a month of learning how to stand in the truth and stand in who you are. This is where you learn what you need to learn, whether on your financial affairs, on how you can save your pennies, to how you can, as Lisa's doing today, dry, you know, dry your fruit, dry some oranges out. I don't seem to understand. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I missed what Lisa was saying. And she said a lot of young people that she works with don't seem to understand what is happening. They keep spending on high and dollar foods and other items. They refuse to change. Totally agree. Totally agree. There's so many out there that don't see it. And that's the whole thing. It's like even when I was working last week, because I only work twice a week at a recreational center. And, you know, this one woman, I think I'm going to say she's older than me. So she's old. And she was like, she wanted to buy something from the pop machine or something like that. And she goes, doesn't the pop machine have, and this is how she's been so conditioned, which I found amazing. And she goes, she asked about, doesn't it use tap or whatever and stuff like that? And I'm like, no, it's cash only. And she goes, oh, well, who carries cash? And of course, can't shut up. I said, well, we all should be carrying cash on us and have some form of cash on us, and she goes, well, why would we want to carry cash? I said, so the government doesn't take control of us all. And she goes, what? Why would the government take control of us? Right there, right with that comment that she said. And I sort of looked at her and I'm just like, and my first thought, and this is so horrible, is like, how many elixirs have you had? You know, that's where my first thought went. Right. And that's, going back to Lisa's comment, that there's so many people that, oh, the gas went up to $1.62. Okay. Well, I'm still going to go out and do this and this and this. But they're going to find at the end of the month, they're not going to have the extra dollars. And that's what I'm, even with a lot of the markets that people go to, like I got 2 markets this month, that a lot more people are going to be, ooh, I can't afford that. What can I afford? Or want to go there? And, what can I get? Sort of thing. So this is where, for a lot of you who are out there, if you do spell kits or if you do anything like that, this is a great time to put some things out there, but making them reasonably priced. Don't make a spell kit and charge $125 for it. Well, if you can get it, then do it. But I mean, this is where it's like being very, doing things so that they're not so overpriced. But I understand that sometimes, with the price of goods, it's like you don't want to lose out, right? So one of those kind of crazy things, right? I have big ones and I only charge 55. And I was watching a program of a baker who's down in Louisiana. He's a baker, and the bakery has been in the family for 6 generations. And his is the first generation that he's saying that he doesn't know if he'll have a bakery to hand down to his child, to his family, to his kids. And it's a very cool, and they make, I guess, because of the French influence and stuff down there, they make, the French bread and things like that. And people come from all over the place and buy it. But he says it's very difficult for them to raise the prices, even though the cost to him, right? So there's a cost that comes into him for, bringing in the flour and the other ingredients that he needs for his bakery items. But as he says, it's very difficult. It's very difficult because a lot of people within that area, even to buy a French bread for 3.50 or however much it was, I can't remember, they can't afford it. They can't afford it. So it's going to be, this is where, again, this is where that squeeze comes in. This is where, even for ourselves to find our way. And that's the whole thing. It's like we're going to be having to look for new ways of doing things, new ways of I guess what is a necessity and what isn't a necessity, and where it's when you look at things where I'm going to go to coffee, like, am I going to go buy the Starbucks coffee if I need to buy a jug of milk? No, I'm going to buy the jug of milk, right? Years ago, I'd be able, a couple years ago, it'd be like, yeah, I'll buy the jug of milk and I'll get my coffee. Now it's like, no, I'll make my coffee at home and I have my jug of milk kind of thing. So yeah, it's just a crazy world right now. And I think this week is going to get even crazier. What else do we have? What's going on out there? Americans suffering, crushed by credit card debt. Well, we know that. That's nothing new. You don't hear much about Princess Kate anymore now that everybody believes she has cancer. So everybody's gone hush hush on that. Oh, migrants can sue company that flew them to Martha's Vineyard. Oh, that's another one. Yeah. Oh, and there's a tornado outbreak down on the East Coast and stuff. Okay. Yeah. Just going through the crazy shenanigans. So that's just some of the 411 of the crazy news that's out there. As above, so below. Rebirth, reinvent yourself. Oh, that's a huge one. That's what I'm looking at right now, is a reinventing, to give life to your dreams, create a new reality. So what does that look like? Like, what does that mean when you hear that? When it's all about reinvent yourself, and you're just like, okay, how do I reinvent myself? What am I going to do? What does that look like? What does that mean? So that's really something to kind of moodle on what does that reinvention and rebirthing look like to you, to each of us. And it's yeah, we would like to reinvent the world. We like to give a new birthing to the world, but that's out there, right? So this is coming into, like, internally within us. How are we rebirthing ourselves? What does that look like for us individually, within ourselves, within our family, within our businesses, within our where we work, right? And with that comes a prayer for your life partner. Romance is returning to your relationship. So romance, have your loved ones around, include them on this rebirthing part, and trust in the unknown, and trust in the process. Trust in the process. Believe that you can do this. There, put it into the higher powers and ask, how I want to reinvent myself. Show me. I don't know. I know I have to. I know I need to do something. Show me the way. How can I do that? Right? There you go. Have a great one, everybody. Enjoy the day. It's kind of a little bit mucky out there, a little bit fucked up, but hey, just take one step at a time and enjoy the process, I guess, because it is kind of crazy out there. It really is crazy. So enjoy, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. So have a blessed one, everyone. See you later. Bye-bye.